Hi, I'm Yemisi Cedar. Thank you for tuning into Team Parenting Tips. Today, I want to talk to you about 6 things that you and I do that our kids hate. If there's one thing we want to nail as parents, it's having a relationship with our kids that's solid, that's real. Because if our relationship becomes fragmented, guess what? Our kids don't reach their highest potentials because they lack confidence, they lack a sense of worth and value, and they end up being susceptible to peer pressure, and in some cases underachieving in school, and they can actually become vulnerable to gang grooming or other toxic relationships. So it's really important as a parent to know what things get in the way of the relationship that you and I have with our kids. So I'm going to list 6. Number 1, being compared to another person. I mean, let's face it, who likes to be compared to someone else? I know it's easy. If you see another kid who's doing extremely well at school, or they're doing really well at work, and they seem to shine, and it's easy to just say, look at this person, because you're thinking that by comparing your child to that other person, it would inspire them. But actually, it has the negative effect on your child. What we must do, if we know that our child's not reaching their full potentials, it's reminding them of their worth. It's reminding them of their value, of their capacity and their abilities. It's reminding them of things that they've done really, really well and how that's transferable. And so if you've been in a situation where you've compared your child to someone else, been there, done that, then apologize to your child and make it be a thing of the past. Number 2, not being understood. Let's face it, who doesn't want to be understood? But as parents, especially if you're working, it's very easy to partially listen to the needs of our kids. Now, a child needs to be understood fully. So how do you go about doing that? It means giving our kids 100% attention. Listen to what they have to say. Repeat back what they've said. Make sure that we fully understand and respond accordingly. Because if we don't meet the emotional needs of our children, so if your child says, they don't feel like going to school, they find it too challenging, or if they don't want to go to do that job, rather than just dictate and say, do this and do that, the key thing is to try and understand why your child doesn't want to go to school. It may be that your child's been bullied. It may be that your child is experiencing challenging situations. But unless we sit down to really put ourselves in their shoes and understand, it just goes over our heads. We don't meet the needs of the child, and the child says, you know what, what's the point? My parent doesn't, mum, dad doesn't understand. I might as well go somewhere else where I will be understood. Number 3, not being heard. Everyone has a voice. The thing is, as parents, it's very easy to get overly familiar with our child and to give them partial attention or second guess what they say. It's important that our children are heard. In my mentoring sessions all the time, kids will say to me, my mum doesn't listen, or my dad's never there. And what does it mean to really listen? It means that you're actively hearing what they're saying, and then you're responding to it. So if your child says, Mum, I don't like it when you shout all the time. And I say, okay, darling, I've heard you, I won't shout anymore. Then if I've really heard my child, then I will make measures to ensure that I don't shout at the child any longer. But if I say I've heard, but I'm still shouting at the child, have I really heard? Absolutely not. When we listen and really listen, it brings about change. Number 4, mistrust. Everyone wants to be trusted, We know there's a saying, trust is earned. But you know what? We love our children. We come to a place where we see the highest best in our children. Relationships are built on trust. And there might be things that your child has done that makes you question that trust. But ultimately, your goal, my goal, is to make sure that our relationship is rooted in trust. If my child doesn't trust me, or if your child doesn't trust me, guess what? They will go somewhere else to get the kind of direction that they're lacking from you. If they distrust you, if they feel, well, if I go to mum and dad with this situation, all they're going to do is yell, complain and moan, I'm going to go somewhere else for advice. You don't want that, because there's so much noise, so much clamor. You want your child, you want to be the voice of reason in your child's life, because who would love your child more than you? You know, that's how you've got to look at it. So if there is mistrust, the job now is to try and repair those bridges by having open, transparent conversation to look at where those breaches have been. You know, love is forgiving, love is kind, love is patient. And so we must start somewhere. Trust is really important. Number 5, lack of attention. Everyone seeks attention. All you have to do is look at social media. Some of the things that people do just to get attention. Guess what? Some of our children will go the extra mile to do some things just to get attention. Whether it's bad, it could be, you know, or wrong for them, but just because they want attention. There's some kids who will get in trouble because they just want attention. There's some kids who will say yes to things that they know will harm them, but it means they get attention. So we want our kids to have attention in a healthy, positive way, that they feel secure in your love, in terms of their belonging, that they don't need to seek attention anywhere else, that they're so confident in who they are and where they belong, that they ooze confidence, and that when you speak to them, they know that you have their whole attention, they know that they matter, they know they're significant, they know they're highly valued. And guess what? It goes a long way. In my case, my mum died when I was 18, and quickly one relationship led to another, looking for attention. I became promiscuous because I had low sense of worth and value. My dad wasn't around. I was a mess. But I can tell you, if I had one adult in my life at that time who gave me attention, who told me I was valuable, that I had significance and worth, then the poor choices that I had made then would have been different. Number 6, lack of support. Every single young person I mentor, always in need of support, and often, sadly, they're not getting it at home. I know you're working, I know you're trying to make ends meet, you're juggling so many things. I know, I'm also a single mum, but the key here is work and life balance. Our children must come first. Create time, create space. Look at what the needs of your child is. For some, it might well be they just need a hug. For some, it just might mean they need encouragement. For some, it just might mean that actually they need a new coat, or they need breakfast, or they're struggling in one area or the other. How would you know except with your present? So make it your quest to identify whatever needs your child has. And one quick tip I'm going to add to that when it comes to support, if your child's in secondary school, whether it's in primary school or even in college, university, do tap into mentorship, because that is one resource that can add value and come alongside and strengthen what you're already doing. The other thing that kids hate is overbearing parents, overbearing, controlling parents. I know you mean well, I meant well, but you know what? Look at what happens when we as adults get micromanaged. Look at what happens when people try to control us. It brings out the opposite effect. Why? We all have free will, and we all want to feel that we're trusted in what we do, and that we have the capacity to be creative, make our own mistakes in a healthy way, but at the same time make quality decisions and do something meaningful. Our children are the same way. By controlling our kids, all it produces is rebellion. And then when they get old enough, your child will say, you know what, I don't want to live, I'm not coming home. They end up sleeping at their boyfriend's house or girlfriend's house. if it reverse scenario happens, they end up in social care. You know, it's endless. Or they just say, you know what, I don't want to have a relationship with dad anymore. I don't want to have a relationship with mum. So it's really important to think about what we're doing, and that we explain to the child why this decision is a good one, and why the other choice is a bad one. Help them see the consequences, the pros and cons. Enable your child to make quality decisions by showing them pros and cons and consequences, because whatever we sow, we reap. So control always leads to rebellion. Just remember that. And then the final thing that kids hate is being shouted at. I mean, I'm a Nigerian woman, and Nigerians, we're loud. I think Africans are loud in general, and when I'm excited, my voice, I raise my voice. When I'm upset, without meaning to, I raise my voice and I end up shouting. Both my kids hate it. As a matter of fact, my daughter says it triggers her, and then she reacts, and then before you know it, we're arguing, and it becomes really, really stressful and painful. So when your child does something that winds you up the wrong way, go somewhere quiet, get yourself calm, and then be at a place where you can respond to the situation rather than react. I hope you find this very useful. We're in this together, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how challenging your child's behavior may be. Don't give up. Every child matters, and every child is special. If you like this video, please like it, please share, and hope you tune into the next one. Have a good day. Bye now.